Hey everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. So as promised, I'm back with another Dollar Tree fall video. I'm still not ready for Christmas, but because YouTube is funny that way, I know I'm gonna have to start doing Christmas soon. So I have one more fall video for you. And today's video is sponsored by Skillshare, which I love because one of my tutorials was actually put together watching a Skillshare class. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of inspiring classes for creative and curious individuals like you. So if you have a craft that you want to perfect, like macrame for me, or if you're looking to get into a new hobby, then Skillshare is the place for you. Whether you're looking to fend off boredom, focus on self-care through creativity, or join a similar creative community, Skillshare is the place to be learning. I'm currently taking the fundamentals of DSLR photography with Justin Bridges, just because I wanted to perfect my camera skills, of course, for my channel. Since life's been a little crazy and uncertain for me lately, I've been taking a productivity masterclass, which has come in so handy. And of course, my macrame class, and I love this so much because I can work at my own pace, I can advance as quickly as I want or slow it down. So this is definitely a membership with meaning. Be sure to click the link in my description because the first 1,000 people to use that link will get a free trial to Skillshare Premium membership. And after that, it'll be $10 a month for unlimited classes. Thank you again to Skillshare for sponsoring today's video, and before we get into it, I want to remind you to please hit that subscribe button because once you hit subscribe, we instantly become best friends.
Did we just become best friends? Yep!
And hit that notification bell. YouTube may or may not let you know when I post a video, but just in case, follow me on Instagram, and let's go ahead and get started. For the first tutorial, I'm going to start off how I do with every pumpkin tutorial. I'm going to remove the stem, and then I am going to skewer this and paint it white. You can paint it whatever color you want, but I do use a sponge brush for this. I found these napkins at Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to cut this out as best I can. It's not completely white, but it will blend in. I don't split up my napkin when I do this, by the way. For the stem, I'm going to do the same thing that I've been doing for years on this channel, which is air dry modeling clay. I'm going to roll it out into a ball, and then I'm going to roll it into a cone shape and curve the tip in and shape it however I want. For the bottom, I shape it onto the pumpkin itself so that it fits better, and I let it dry this way. Spray paint or paint only when it's completely dry, and I'm using Rust-Oleum's Metallic Gold, and with some Dollar Tree Mod Podge, I'm just going to add a very thin layer and apply my napkin. I still haven't taken it apart. I like that it has the 2 layers so that it's a little easier to work with. I usually prefer tissue paper, like the gift wrap paper, but napkins do have a larger variety of patterns. Now I'm going to add some Mod Podge to the top, and I'm going to smooth it out using Saran wrap or any type of plastic. For the stem, I usually hot glue it on. I tried one in a natural like terracotta color, and honestly, let me know if you prefer that one. I always prefer the gold for some reason, so I'm just going to hot glue it in place, and when I'm done, I have a beautiful customized pumpkin. For this next one, I'm going to be using this vase from Dollar Tree, and I picked up this paint. It's Deco Art Suede, so it already has these little grains in it, but you can easily achieve the same thing by picking your color of choice and adding baking soda. I first saw that hack on TikTok. I will link the original video below to where I saw it, and then McKenna Lee also did it. There's a bunch of creators who have tried the baking soda method, and it gives you a terracotta look. But this does something very similar, but save your money because this is a little bit expensive. I did give this 3 coats. Make sure that you put your brush inside a bag so it doesn't dry out. And now for the next step, I'm going to take the snakes from Dollar Tree. I'd used them in a tutorial before to make a tray. I'm going to cut off the tail and the head. And once I have that cut down, I'm going to count 21 little notches, and that's where I'm going to cut because this is 44 pieces, so that would be perfectly in half. Now that I have my 2 pieces, I'm going to use these as handles, and I do know that they're a little big, so this does look a little bit on the awkward side. I do wish this face was a lot bigger, but I still really like the contrast of the natural wood and the terracotta color. If you did want to add a little bit of height, I created a little tiny riser using the tails of the snake. This was in the last video where I created the tray as well. And this is what it looks like. I think it's super cute, and it's basically a free craft, and it's using these little tails. So I'll link that video below so you can see the tray and the riser and the rest of the crafts, but you can put your vase on top to give it a little bit of height to make it look a little less awkward with those big ol' handles. I found these dried bouquets at Dollar Tree, and I did fill the vase with 2 of them. I think this ended up looking so good, and I really love it. For this next one, I wanted something to do with these pumpkins. This one had broken when I tried to remove the stem, and the other one I just don't think is very cute. So I picked up these socks from Dollar Tree, and we are just going to transform these. And the best thing about this is that you can remove this and redecorate next year if your taste changes. So I'm making sure that this is nice and straight, and then I am just cutting off the top. Now using a small paintbrush, I'm just going to start to actually push in those pieces into that little hole where the stem was. Some of these pumpkins are a little easier to work with than others. This one is completely foam, whereas the other one has a plastic coating, but the inside is foam. So for this one, it was really easy to just push that in. For the other one, it was a little bit more difficult. Now for the back, I'm going to cut that off, and I am just going to glue that shut because no one is going to see that. So just add a generous amount of glue and be very careful with your hands and fingers. I added my original stem back in. Of course, you can paint yours if you'd like. And now for the next one, this one is a little bit harder because this does have the plastic coating. So what I'm going to do is once I have the sock in, I'm just going to take scissors or whatever I can to open up that little hole just a little bit. This is going to make it way easier for me to get that fabric in there because right now I really can't. So scissors to the rescue. I'm just twisting them around till I make that a little bigger, and then I'm following the same steps. For this one, I had to glue my stem back in place, but when I was done, I had a really adorable pumpkin. For this one, I'm going to be using the 3D wreath forms from Dollar Tree. This is the bigger size, and I'm going to go ahead and remove one of the rings and then remove that little notch right there using some side cutters or pliers, whatever you have. Sometimes you can just pull on them and they come right off. You don't have to cut them, but you have to be really lucky for that. I'm going to be giving this a coat of white spray paint. Make sure that it bonds to metal, and make sure that you're letting this dry really, really well before giving it another coat. I did have to do 3 individual coats, and it is a little cold outside, so just be patient with dry time. Once it is completely dry, it's time to work on this little macrame piece, and I'm going to be completely upfront with you. I did mess up a bit and you'll be able to see it. So I used 2 packs of this decorative nautical rope from Dollar Tree. These are in 11 feet and it still wasn't enough. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to create 2 loops. By the way, you can also use this stuff, which you can get at Home Depot, but it's a little bit more expensive. So here are both the ropes. I'm going to create a little loop. Then I'm going to put one inside of the other, just like this, so that I can loop the rest of the string through, and that way it's attached to the metal. If I was using thinner rope, it'd be a little bit easier to see, but basically I'm just tying it on here, and you're going to have those 2 little ends stick out. You don't really need those ends. What you're going to be working with is this right here. So what I'm going to do is shape this into a number 4, and then that bottom piece I'm going to go through the wire and pull. So again, for the other side, I'm going to shape a number 4, put the other rope on top of that. Then I'm going to go underneath the hoop and through that number 4. And I'm going to do this switching sides, so right side, left side, until I get all the way around. Now, I did mess up because I kind of forgot if I was going left or right, so I did 2 rights at the beginning, and you can see it at the end, but yeah, practice makes perfect. So again, you're going to create a number 4 with one of the strings. And I do show you throughout the tutorial once my rope becomes a little shorter, because it's easier to see when you have shorter rope. So you create that number 4, the other rope on top of that, and then you go underneath that wire and pull. And once you get used to it, it does become a lot easier. Just it's a little tedious when your rope is long.
Sick in the morning, baby, don't leave. They don't need to know we're out here wild and free.
I would definitely recommend using longer rope and maybe thinner if you want something a little bit more delicate. But since I'm covering up with flowers, it really doesn't matter that I have that gap. I'm just going to cut off the ends and hot glue it in place. And then I'm going to cover this up with some Dollar Tree roses. I'm adding a mix of the roses and some of the pumpkin clips from Dollar Tree, and I'm making sure that I'm using that greenery as well, so it's not just blue and there are some of the fall colors popping through. So this is what it looks like, and you can tell where I forgot if I was going left or right, but I still think it looks really, really pretty, and the cool thing is you can always untie it and continue, but I really, really love it. For this next one, I'm going to be making over this sign. This sign is made using Dollar Tree materials. These are 2 beware signs glued into place. I'll link the original tutorials below because I did use this twice, but basically what I did was I removed all of the glitter by using a scraper. I vacuumed it up, and once that was completely removed, I added popsicle sticks all the way up so that it's nice and secure. I don't like adding glue in between because it seeps forward, but definitely adding the popsicle sticks adds some security. By the way, I did cover up those little holes using some Dollar Tree spackle. This makes all the difference in your end result. So like I said, I'll link the original tutorials below. This was both in a sleigh video and this carrot patch. I'm gonna go ahead and link it so that you can see how I painted the little carrots and everything, but everything that's on here is from Dollar Tree. I'm gonna go ahead and remove it, and then since it does have some residue, I'm gonna sand that down so it's nice and clean. I painted over it using its original color, and I am going to go ahead and save the open daily, but I found this gather sign at Dollar Tree. Now this material is really tricky to paint. Do not spray paint this. Spray painting this is just going to make it absorb the spray paint, and you're just going to waste a bunch of spray paint. Definitely use acrylic paint, and I'm using this beautiful cobalt blue. I really love blue and fall colors together. It's just so beautiful to me. So I'm going to hot glue this in place just using dots in case I want to reuse this sign again. And then I am going to use this beautiful Dollar Tree garland and just glue it all the way around using the same method so that I use minimal glue. So I love this because I can keep reusing and making over this sign over and over, but let me know what you think. What should go on here next? So that's it for me. I really hope that you enjoyed these easy fall tutorials. Let me know which one is your favorite, if you'll be recreating one, and a big thank you to Skillshare for sponsoring today's video. As usual, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you so much, and I will hopefully see you on the next one.